What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, my name is Blair and this is Throttle Blip. Today we're going to talk suspension, specifically the Screamin Eagle Öhlins inverted front end that Harley Davidson just released. So Tim's has installed the suspension on a 2025 Road Glide. There's also a couple other things done to the bike. I'll show you super quickly, just for reference. It has the Ohlins piggyback shocks on the rear to complement the front, D&D Bobcat exhaust, thrashing risers, ODI bar, the wedge air cleaner, thrashing floorboards. You have your engine guard off of the ST models. So this bike is pretty set up, pretty dialed. Oh, a Harley seat. So although I won't be riding it in this video, I do have a considerable amount of miles on this bike and other bikes with the Öhlins inverted front end. So I feel like I can speak to it and give you a fair, true, honest assessment on what it's gonna cost you and is it worth it for you specifically. But we're not gonna start with the suspension just yet. What I wanna talk about are the three bikes in front of us and why they are important. So this is one of my personal bikes, 2020 Softail Standard. A lot of you have seen it on the channel multiple times. We did the 128 kit, made 145 horse, 142 torque. It is an absolute blast to ride. I love that bike. It's actually for sale, just so I can go ahead and build the other one. But point being, this thing is rowdy. Now this is owned by the dealership, a 2023 Fat Bob. The only performance mod on this bike is the pipe, but as you'll see, it has the Öhlins piggyback mono shock on the rear, fully adjustable. And then it has the Öhlins cartridges, so the inserts that go in the fork. So these are the same Showa fork legs that come from Harley Davidson, just with Öhlins internals, whereas on the Road Glide, that is a full Öhlins kit from start to finish. Now, why are these two bikes important? Well, like I said, the Softail Standard is my bike. I've put a ton of miles on it. I know it very, very well. When I had the opportunity to keep the Fat Bob at my house for a while, took it to the mountains, which is really what it was made for. That was Rocky Timms, my buddy that owns this dealership. That was his inspiration for this. So the little bit lower risers than you would typically see, the little mini floorboards, the suspension, it was built to go ride in the mountains and have fun. And he absolutely nailed it because it's just that. Now, one thing that I found was running up and down the mountain, I was significantly faster on this Fat Bob that does not belong to me than I was on my personal bike that I have way more miles on, makes way, way, way more power. And the reason for that is the suspension. Now, why is all this important? Why am I telling you all this? I know you clicked on the video just to see what it costs to do this to your bike and answer the question if it's worth it for you. Well, for the average person to do this 128 kit like I did on my bike, parts, labor, and all that, you're at anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 just off the top of my head, which brings us to the front suspension on this Road Glide. So I'll show you guys this kit really quickly. So for this kit, part number will be 454-00393. That's gonna be $3,029.99 to buy the kit. But you're not done yet. And that's what a lot of people think when they're looking at the website is, oh wow, I can get inverted Öhlins for $3,000. You also need part number 454-00390. That is the fork mounting kit that you see up on your screen right now. That's what you need to be able to install this. So parts only, you are at $4,292.98. And again, that's just for the front end. For those that are interested, for the rear, your rear remote reservoir shocks, and those are gonna be $1,565.99. But we're not done yet. So we've got our part numbers, we've got our cost. You've got to install these on your bike. And for a lot of people, that's not gonna be something that you're going to do at home. It's just, you're gonna have to take the whole front end of the bike off. You're putting new brakes, so changing your lines, etc. There is a lot of stuff that goes into it. Now, if you wanna watch a video on YouTube and learn, I'm all for that. At the end of the day, a lot of people don't have the shop, don't have the tools, don't have the knowledge, and don't have the trust in themselves to do it. So you're gonna be taking it to a dealership, and I think you're gonna be looking at right around 5 hours to do this install on the front of this motorcycle. All dealerships are gonna have slightly different rates, so I looked it up online to see, and the national average is about $125 an hour now for service at a reputable Harley Davidson dealership. So with your 5 hours, with all your parts and stuff, you're looking at right at $7,000 to do the front end on this bike. I think the simple answer is a lot of people just feel like that's the bigger flex. You can say, oh, I have the new 131, I have the new 135, I have the 120, I have whatever, you know, my motor's built. Here's my dyno numbers. It's more of a bragging rights thing than it is to put Öhlins on the front of your bike. Now, let's be honest, gold Öhlins is a flex. It's used in flex culture, and I say that, and I know that because I've talked to a lot of guys that have Öhlins front and rear on their bike. I ask them about settings, and they look at me like I'm crazy. So how did you set it up? What weight is it set up for? Oh, I don't know. I had it put on, and I think they did all that. So if they don't know your weight and stuff, then they didn't do that. Also, if you're carrying luggage and a passenger, that thing changes, and you need to change the suspension accordingly. Why would you spend all that money if you're not going to get, you know, everything out of it? And it's just for the flex, because you and I know when we see a bike with these gold legs and those gold reservoirs that this dude spent a lot of cheddar on his bike. So how do you determine whether or not this is for you? Well, first and foremost, I would honestly say the simplest way is let your bank account tell you. So if you can go out and do suspension like this on your bike and it's really not a big deal for you, absolutely do it, because I'm telling you guys, I get nothing, by the way, if you go and do this. It's worth every penny, if you can afford it, that is. The way that these bikes ride is so night and day difference. To me, it's more of a drastic difference than doing something like a big motor on the bike. This thing handles so good. And this is not just for guys that want to go carve canyons and stuff. If you're putting a ton of miles, you're doing cross country, you're riding, you know, 700, 800, 1200, 1500 miles to Sturgis, in my opinion, the suspension is gonna pay for itself just in a trip like that. But on the other side, if you are reaching for the credit card and it's gonna be a little while before you can pay that baby off to throw this on there, I'll be honest, I'm not doing it. And that's just me personally. You do you. I've made those decisions in the past, and I try to do a little bit better. Now, what I would do is the inserts that we had talked about that are on this Fat Bob, significantly less money. And I'm just coming off the top of my head. I think you're probably $1,500 to do some really nice drop-ins, Öhlins cartridges that are gonna be adjustable. About $1,000, I think, for this monoshock, somewhere in there. If you're on a Softail, obviously, if you're on a touring bike, we've already discussed the price. But if you can't really swing this yet, I would be willing to, while you save your money, do the drop-in kit and feel what a night and day difference it is, because that's going to encourage you to continue to save that money, because you're like, wow, if the drop-ins make this much of a difference on this motorcycle, I can only imagine what the full inverted front end does. Now, this is probably a topic for another video entirely, but the inverted front end alone, just that suspension technology that's been around for years, and Harley is very, very, very slowly adopting, meaning they need to do that on all of their touring bikes, is night and day difference from non-inverted front end. Do yourself and the suspension justice by properly setting it up for your weight and your riding style. Don't just go buy it so people know you spent a lot of money. Or even if you did do that, still set it up so you get all the usability out of the suspension. Now, guys that have done your suspension, please weigh in the comments. Let us know what brand you have, what bike it's going on, how you have it set up. If you're comfortable with it, let us know what you spent to do it, parts, labor, etc. And then finally, let us know if it's worth it. I'm just one person, but I've been very fortunate to ride literally every Harley Davidson made, for the last 5 or 6 years and a bunch before that. So I've ridden a lot of different setups, and I'm telling you guys, my thing has always been trying to be honest, truthful, transparent. I know it's a lot, but if you can swing it, this will change your bike for the better. That's going to be it for this one, guys. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.